Israel just took out another leader of the suppressing forces, a key person. I forgot his name, but it was a very big person. The reason why that is, I mean, you might think like somebody might say, well, they have been doing that. They like, how is this different from the other ones? The difference is that we were wondering if that is still the plan to reduce the suppressor, like have the Israelis like stopped doing that, because there haven't been like some of the targets haven't been the suppressing forces, because when somebody from the suppressing forces gets killed, for Israel that has no strategic advantage for Israel's security, unless their plan is to help the Iranian people do an uprising, right? And some Iranians were wondering if that plan had been abandoned, and now Israel is basically focusing on other objectives. But now that they saw one of the main suppressing forces of the regime being targeted and killed, so a lot of Iranians are like, "Oh, okay, that is still the plan. That is like they're still working on that plan," um, which has made a lot of Iranians happy that that is still the plan. Um, there was another person that just was killed. That was more some people considered to be a reformist. That part of the negotiating team and stuff. So that made a lot of Iranians happy. But again, these are the good parts. The bad part is what I just told you. Other than the infrastructure, the Islamic Republic, to be honest here to everybody, has been able to resist more than people anticipated. Like a lot of people would have thought that this much destruction by the Islamic Republic would have ended them by now. Um, and the fact that it hasn't yet, some Iranians are wondering like, why haven't they collapsed already? Like, what else do you need to do for this thing to fall apart? Like, so some Iranians are surprised that these people are still like, we still even have an Islamic Republic after killing so many of their leaders and destroying so many of their forces. So there is some demoralization, is that the word? Yeah, on lack of motivation. Like some people are losing some hope, like, or becoming skeptical if this is even possible. But I do hear from some Iranians that they're just waiting for that final uprising, so they just can't wait for that day to come. So there's the other side. But yeah, the main thing that worries me is this Hashd Shabi forces that are coming from Iraq to Iran. That is my number one concern. I'm just wondering if the next uprising we're going to see another like tens of thousands of Iranians being killed again, just because the Islamic Republic just easily was able to just bring forces from outside to, and these people are not even Iranian, so they are even more willing to just shoot into the crowds of Iranian. So that's my number one concern that scares me. And one thing I wish that was happening was like they would have managed the Iran Iraq border a lot better. Like there were some people who were suggesting that the Americans should have just completely bombed anything that wanted to come from Iraq to inside Iran. Like just should have just like, but again, there was a whole caravan of them that came. Like we were in here, Susie. We were watching the video of the caravan of the Hashd Shabi coming to Iran, and they were all in one row, and we were wondering why is it not that big, like that's such an easy target, why was that allowed to get into Iran, why wasn't that bombed? And then eventually somebody on Iran International mentioned that they came with their family, they filled those cars, there's Toyota cars with machine guns, and they had the Hashtag flags on their cars, like they weren't even hiding it that they were terrorists, right? But apparently they also had their families in the car, and that's the reason that I'm not sure if that's but that's what Iran International reported, and that's why they didn't bomb them. So anyways, that's, yeah, that's the summary.